Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our morning meeting with our ambassadors here at the Center for Wildlife. We have our little spotted turtle buddy, Percy, with us today. Hi, Percy. He is excited to go on a walk, so we're going to take him out and see what he's interested in. But before we get started, we're going to let some folks come on in. Definitely shout out your name, let us know where you're from, and as always, there's a donate button down below to donate to the center. But we are here to take a little walk with Percy, with our spotted turtle ambassador. He's very, very sweet. He's been with us for about a year and a half now. Hello. Hi. And he's probably somewhere around 3 years old. We're not exactly positive, but we estimate that he's probably somewhere around there. Hello, Percy. Good morning, everybody. Definitely let us know if you're here. Comment and let us know where you're from, what your name is, and we'll say hello. So Percy here, hi, is our little spotted turtle buddy. And believe it or not, he is not going to get too much bigger than he already is. He is, really, really tiny. These guys are described as diminutive little turtles. Hello. So we don't expect to see him get much larger. He might grow a little bit more. Again, he's only a few years old now. But he is pretty young. He came to us because somebody was trying to keep him as a pet, and we know from previous Facebook Lives and from a lot of our ambassador stories that this doesn't really often work out too well, especially with our wild turtles or reptiles. These guys can often have very, very tricky care, have a lot of high maintenance habitat needs and requirements, so they don't always make the best pets. Hi, Dave. Hi, Uncle David. How's it going? Hi, Caitlin. I saw that you were watching. Hi, Penelope, Jules, and Charlie. I'm so glad that you guys are watching. We're really excited to be able to connect with you guys and share our ambassador friends with you guys. This guy is really anxious to get on a walk, so we will put him down in the leaves and see where he wants to go today. We actually live in some great spotted turtle habitat. I'll show you guys kind of what I mean as we're walking with him. But he would definitely love to be in kind of a semi-aquatic habitat. These guys are really commonly found in bogs and marshes, things like that, and we have quite a bit of that. Hi, Xander. I'm so glad that you're tuning in again today. Hello, Joe. Hello. I'm so glad that you guys are regulars. That's really cool. So welcome, everybody. Let me know where you're from, what your name is, and we will take Mr. Percy here on a little walk. And as always, there is a donation button down below to donate towards the care of this little friend and all of our patients. Hi, Hazel and Eloise. Hello. All right. So we are going to put Mr. Percy down and take him on a little walk. What do you think, Percy? You gonna explore? Hi, Katie. How's it going? Hello. Hi. So Percy is a semi-aquatic species of turtle, so he would like to live any place where there is water that he can wade into. They are very good swimmers. They also do most of their hunting in the water and most of their eating in the water. So these guys are actually pretty active hunters. They don't really look like they would be because they're pretty tiny. Where are you going, buddy? But they are pretty active hunters. And they will hunt for a lot of aquatic insects, grubs, things like that. This guy loves all sorts of different types of bugs. We give him a lot of different options. We give him plankton and krill. Hi. And mealworms. Hello, Katie. Nice to see you guys. What do you think, Percy? So we're going to take him on a little walk out by one of our marshier areas. Good morning. You can really see that he moves pretty well. A lot of people think that turtles are quite slow, And some of them are. Some of our larger tortoises are very slow. But these turtles that are meant to live in water are usually pretty quick. He has fairly long legs that help propel him forward. You guys might be able to see the little springtails jumping around on the leaves. They are sometimes also known as snow fleas. They're not actually in the flea family. They're just a species of insects that lives under the leaves during the winter, and they're perfectly harmless. But they are out and about. Hello, good morning. Where are you going? I know, you're so active. So this is really cool. Percy doesn't usually get so excited. He's pretty excited today. He's out and about. He loves to explore. We got Percy from down in Connecticut, from someone down in Connecticut, and he was trying to be kept as a pet. He is obviously very cute, and that sometimes can work against these guys when they're trying to, when people try to keep them as pets. But they do need a lot of fairly intensive care. They need the right setup. They need something that's semi-aquatic, so you have to provide them with water and something to bask on, something to get really warm. You have to have the right lighting, the right heat, and obviously managing an aquarium setup can be tricky. Where are you going? You're so cute. So these guys are called spotted turtles for all of the spots on their shells. They're actually unique to each of the individual turtles that you would find. So the spots have a distinct pattern for each turtle, and we call them actually constellations. That's what they refer to them as, because they look like stars. And because of that, we actually named him Percy after the Perseids. So these guys would normally all have a distinct pattern of shells or of spots on their shells. So you can identify one spotted turtle from another. Hi, Maine Beer Company. Oh my goodness, hello. We miss you guys so much. I'm so glad you guys are tuning in. Percy is enjoying his walk in the sun today, which is so nice. Hi, buddy. The other interesting fact they've done a lot of studies on these spots, just kind of fun facts, but the spots are usually more dense on the left side of their body. We don't really know why. And they usually the female spotted turtles are larger and have more spots, which is interesting. Where are you going? Are you looking around in leaves? What do you think? Some fun branches to crawl on. He is really having the time of his life. Hi, buddy. And they are very useful for camouflage. Hi, Andrea. We miss you guys. Hi, Kendall. We miss you guys so much. We hope you're doing well. Good morning, Percy. Where are you going? Hi. So this is the time of year when our turtles are becoming really active. Turtles in the winter will do something a little bit like hibernation, but not exactly the same. They will do something called brumation, where they will dig themselves down in the water or the mud in a pond, or in the case of this guy, maybe a bog or a marsh. And they will actually go underwater for the entire winter. They slow down so much, their cells slow down so much that they actually don't need any sort of oxygen, really. They use the oxygen that's dissolved in the water, but they use so little oxygen and produce so little waste that they actually can survive underwater for the entire winter. And that's what these guys would normally do. And then this time of year they would come out and start to get really active. Their breeding season is going to come up soon. They're going to start to wake up, find each other, and try to have some babies. And usually those will be they'll lay eggs in usually May. So you can see there's some water over here. That's kind of where he's heading. We won't let him go swimming or anything, because we don't want to lose you. But they do like this exact sort of little vernal pool habitat, or a marsh or a bog, something where lots of aquatic insects can be found. So I see we have a lot of comments. Thank you guys so much for being so Jules would like to know why this kind of turtle can swim when other kinds of turtles cannot. That's a really great question. So turtles generally are found in or near the water. You'll phrase that turtles live in the water and tortoises live on land. And that's a generalization that is mostly true, but not completely. We do have turtles like box turtles who don't really swim, or Blanding's turtles, who are very, very tall in their shell and can't really swim very well. They would be very slow in water. Where are you going? And they would sink because of their heavy shell. That tall dome shell is really useful for completely tucking your limbs inside of, but it's not very good for swimming. It's not meaning it can't really cut through the water very quickly. Where are you going? He says, I want to go to the water. He's having so much fun. So Percy here is a species of turtle that would normally be found in the water. They would also be hunting in the water, so they need to be very quick. And that is why his shell is actually shaped the way that it is. Let me see if I can grab him, and we'll start over again at the start line so we don't lose him. You can see his shell is actually pretty skinny, and it has a slight dome to it, but it doesn't have the nice tall dome of a box turtle's shell. And that is so that he can cut through the water very, very quickly to hunt for his food. And he also does have some webbing in between his toes, but not too much webbing. You would definitely see more webbing on a painted turtle. There you go. So he has some, but not a lot. And that's because he's usually what we call semi-aquatic. So he is going to be living in the water sometimes, but not all of the time. And he will normally be living in kind of shallow water, so marshes and bogs. So he's still going to need to use those nails to get around. So he's perfectly adapted to live in that semi-aquatic sort of habitat. You can see how fast he is on the ground. I hope that answers your question. Hello, Liam and Luke. Hi, Eliza. Hi, Scout. Hello, Michelle. I'm so glad that you guys are with us. Just a reminder, we do have a donate button if you'd like to donate to the care of Percy here. He's not too expensive to care for. He eats a little bit of worms, but the 2,000 patients we get every year do cost us money to take care of. So thank you so much for donating. Edie would like to know if he swims and hunts in captivity. Yes, we will frequently give him all sorts of live little insects to eat. He really sometimes likes to eat like insects we find in the pond out here, or we'll give him little mealworms to eat in the water, and he'll chase those down. Nice job, buddy. And we do, he has a tank that is half water and kind of half land, so he does go swimming. He loves to hide in leaves that we put in his tank for him, and it's actually really tricky to see him sometimes. We will get frequently stumped and be like, oh my God, where's Percy? He's missing. He crawled out somehow. But he didn't. He's just really good at hiding, and all of those spots are fantastic camouflage. We get tripped up by them sometimes. So where are you going, bud? He is having such a great time exploring. We definitely like to get our ambassadors out on walks and make sure that they have some fun. What do you think, buddy? Where are you going? Hi. So these guys will be breeding shortly. We will see them start to have lay their eggs sometime in May. They're in the middle of their breeding season now. And the females usually will lay their eggs in kind of an open field or meadow, someplace where it's dry. And she'll dig a hole with her back legs, and then she'll usually lay somewhere around 3 to 4 eggs. And what's interesting is the female turtles of the spotted turtles will actually hide their nest a little bit. They'll kind of rub their lower part of their shell that we call the plastron over the spot where they've dug to hide it a little bit, to smooth out the dirt. and keep predators from finding it. These guys are small, and so they are more susceptible to predators than other species of turtles might be. These guys usually will be preyed upon by raccoons. Raccoons are really big fans of these little guys. And also in the winter, when they're under the dirt in a pond, a muskrat would eat quite a few of these guys if they found them. So they are very tiny, and because of their small size, because they only lay a few eggs at a time, and also because they take about 8 to 10 years to reach full maturity, so they're not having babies for the first 8 to 10 years of their life. They're kind of slow to mature, so that all means that it's very hard for them to repopulate if something happens to their population. So these guys are actually vulnerable throughout the country, and then a species that is considered threatened in the state of Maine. We normally only get them in the lower part of Maine. We really only see them in southern Maine, maybe south of Augusta. But they are very vulnerable to things like habitat destruction and development. They are often found crossing roads during this time of year, so please keep your eyes out. Good morning, Evan! So we always recommend this time of year to be very, very cautious when you're driving. Keep an eye out for these little guys, and as well as other species of turtles like painted turtles and snapping turtles and Blanding's turtles. They all are going to be crossing roads and trying to go lay their eggs. And we can certainly help them out by helping them across the road in the direction they were going if it's safe to do so. In the case of a large turtle that might bite us, like a snapping turtle, we would want to be very cautious, wear gloves, handle them as little as possible. We don't recommend really picking up snapping turtles. If you just want to usher them across the road, that's really the best way to do it. Hello, Noelle. Hi, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We love being able to get these guys outside, give them some. If you have any questions about Percy, we would love to answer them for you. Why is Percy not able to be released back out into the wild? That's a great question. So Percy was kept as a pet for the first few years of his life, and we actually are not completely sure where he is from. So Percy would need to be relocated back to an area that that was already suitable for him and that he had originally come from, and we actually don't. By somebody in Connecticut after as a baby. So when they're very, very small, little baby turtles, they are actually about the size of a quarter when they hatch from the egg, and people will often find them and think that they are babies and need help. A lot of folks don't realize that mama turtles don't really care for their babies. They will lay the eggs and then leave, and then the eggs will incubate in the ground for about 3 months, and then they'll hatch. But the babies never really meet their parents. They're on their own, so they are often mistook for orphans, but they don't really need that much help. They are pretty vulnerable to predation at that age, so you want to, if you see one, kind of make sure that there are no other predators in the immediate vicinity when you put it back, but they really don't need too much human interference. Where are you going? Nice job. So Percy was taken out of the wild as a very, very small turtle, and unfortunately was kept in captivity for a couple of years. So he doesn't really understand how to be a wild turtle. Would probably not be able to find his own food, find his way around. I know he looks like he can get around pretty well. I know, buddy. But we do feed him every other day, and he would most likely have a hard time finding his own food. He also would probably not know all the things he needs to do to mate or have babies. So he lives with us. He was just in captivity for too long. Wow, there are a bunch of springtails over here. So you guys can see all these little tiny insects that are jumping around on the ground are called springtails or snow fleas. They're not actually fleas, but they are perfectly harmless and just very awake because All the snow is melted. The rain has kind of exposed some of them. But sometimes you'll see them hopping around in the snow, and that's why they're called snow fleas. How old is Percy? Percy is probably somewhere around 3 years old. We're not completely sure, but we would guess he is somewhere around that age. Trying to wrangle this turtle, I know. You can actually kind of tell that a turtle is younger by the underside of their shell. If you see on the underside of their shell, it's white and black. When they reach maturity, it'll be completely black throughout here. So that will darken as they get older. Hi, buddy. You're very cute. I know. Hi. What do you think? He's like, let me go. I want to go explore. You're so sweet. Let's see what other questions we have. He is so sweet. We do love him. Brendan would like to know if hawks eat them. I would suspect that a hawk would have a hard time finding one of these guys, but if they did, they might be able to catch them. Whether or not they could get through that shell is another question. The talons might be able to, but they're not super, they're not really known to eat them, but it's certainly possible. Many hawks are not going to try to bother with this shell. It's pretty tough. So this shell is actually made of bone, and it's covered in a layer of the same stuff that our fingernails and hair is made of. So it's really tough, and it's actually a really great protection for this guy. All right. How often does Percy get out to roam? We try to do this every so often. We will put them in another enclosure to eat every other day. So he does get to explore another space and hunt a little bit every other day. And then we usually do this probably once every other week or so. We try to get these guys some good enrichment. And when we're doing programming, these guys are often out and about doing programs frequently, like at least once a week. So he does go on a lot of adventures. He gets to meet a lot of people, which he's fond of. Hi, Nicole. Good morning. We have your sweater. You left it at work. Hello, Mary. Scout wants to know, what are their predators? That's a great question. So Percy is pretty tiny, and as a tiny little guy, he does have a lot of predators out there in the wild. The most famous predator you were just digging these snow fleas, they're everywhere. The most famous predator of our little turtles are raccoons. Raccoons are famous for their ability to kind of wait out a lot of turtles. They'll tuck inside of their shell, and these guys, the raccoon will be able to get through that shell and get into it with their little hands. So raccoons are probably the most famous predators of these guys, but muskrats also will eat them quite frequently because they occupy a similar habitat, and especially in the winter when these guys are dormant, muskrats will find them and eat them during the winter. I know Percy does love his walks. Thank you, Kim. Where are you going? He says, adios. I'll see you later. Goodbye. The turtles really love to get out and about on sunny days, especially this time of year. They do actually live in outdoor enclosures during the day in the summertime when it's warm enough. So in the summer, they will go outside and live in their outdoor enclosures during the day. And Percy will actually dig himself a nice little nest in there very, very quickly. It's actually really hard to find him in his outdoor enclosure, and we're setting up our outdoor enclosures for all of these guys to go out really soon. Where are you going? He's so cute. Are you gonna run away? Oh my goodness. So definitely keep an eye out for all of our turtles doing this, crossing roads right now. I know. And I wanted to show you guys kind of an ideal spotted turtle habitat. Where are you going? Where are you going? You got an airlift. So this is our little kind of marsh boggy area. one of them. We do have also vernal pools down in the woods. This little pond here is perfect for a spotted turtle. You can kind of see it's really shallow. There's lots of vegetation, lots of insects. We find lots of larvae and like frog eggs in here. So there's lots of food in here for them. But this is perfect for a little spotted turtle, this sort of habitat. I don't want to put them down too close to the water because then I might not have a spotted turtle anymore. Would you go for a swim? It'd be hard to get you out of there, huh? Yeah. Jules would like to know how turtles get their shells. That's a great question. So turtles are actually born with their shells. They are born inside the shell. It's a part of their skeleton, and the shell is actually made up of these little puzzle pieces. These are called scutes, and they're actually attached to their rib cage and their spine. So I actually have a turtle shell over here for us to look at. But if you see, this is a box turtle shell. If you look at the underside of the shell, I'm keeping my eye on you, you can see this spine that runs along the back of it is actually the spine of the turtle. And just like our spine is born with us and grows with us, the turtle's is also attached on the inside of their body. And the shell does not come off. So a lot of people think that turtles and hermit crabs have similar types of shells where they will get too big for one and then pick another one, and that they will kind of use shells throughout their lifetime, and they can be removed from their shells, but they actually can't. They are born with their shells and it grows with them. So each one of these little scutes is actually a growth plate, and they'll grow from the center of those scutes and get larger and larger and larger. Brendan, can you put him in the little water spot? No, because then he could go for a swim and it would be very difficult for me to get him back. He's a very, very quick swimmer, and that's actually pretty deep over there. So we're not gonna put him in the water just now because he would swim away. Hi, Uncle David. Is the new building ready yet? It is on its way to being ready. It should be done very, very soon. They are still working over there. You can kind of see it a little bit through the trees over here, but the site is coming along, and we're expecting to be in there this summer. We're so excited. They're doing the last coats of paint, setting up the nature center. We're so excited. Has any about